Let's go to Copenhagen. Daily passenger traffic over Öresund started in 1833. It was a year when construction of Malmö harbor was completed with the paved quarries and sufficient water depths. Taking boats to Copenhagen became a popular pastime of many people in Malmö. The big city was a real attraction with its entertainments, zoo and Tivoli. Others prefer to stay on board, enjoy the return sailing of the company of good friends. A treasure in Öresund. Do you see the big coins in the box? It's made at 1651 when the Queen Christina ruled over Sweden. Heavy diving. This type of diving suit was used during the salvage operation of Viggen in 1901. It comprises a waterproof rubber suit and metal helmet clamped to the suit. The submarine Viggen was manufactured in Italy 1909. It was ordered by the Swedish Armed Forces. It took 2 months for the Swedish crew to sail the submarine home to Sweden and set record for sailing a submarine. Luxury cruiser MS Jubilee was one of the last vessels delivered from Coscom's shipyard. The vessel had 739 cabins for passengers, of which 9 were suites for balconies. She carried 1,965 passengers. Malmö below water. Most parts of Malmö are close to the sea. As the sea level rises, all coastal cities will be affected. Here you can see how the city of Malmö would be impacted if the sea started to rise without protective measures. The animation shows the fictitious event of sea level rise more than 3 meters. Never tearing oneself away from the workbench. Together with Pierre Curie, Marie Curie did many experiments for discovering protein. The grey seal. The grey seal has long been a threatened species but has recently made a comeback. It eats a lot of fish and some people regard them as competitor of human coastal fishing.
God middag. Vi hälsar våra passagerare välkomna ombord på HMS Öresund. Överfartstiden till Köpenhamn kommer att som vanligt bli 1 timme och 35 minuter. Vi hoppas att vi har en angenäm resa.
The dredger. For many centuries, Malmö lacked a functional harbor. Merchant ships had to anchor offshore at a relatively calm place called the Roads and unloaded their cargo there. They were then transported to a high wagon dry land. Wind, waves, and sand, natural obstacles that resident at Malmö, city of maritime shipping and church towers. Because Öresund is so shallow close to the shore, massive dredging used to was required. It's not documented to show how many were used, but they were a big help. And Alone in the Arctic Ocean, you are sitting in a small motorboat, 4 meters long, in the midst of the sea of ice. Your goal is America. Suddenly the engine stops working and top is all off. A storm starts. Beautiful glittering icebergs become lethal barriers. Anna Sederborn was an unusual woman with unusual life. When she was in 30s, she decided to give up her job as a teacher, and she got a boat and traveled along to the Black Sea. Then she decided to travel to Asia. Model of Stella Polaris. The ship was built in Gothenburg from 1926. The first plane on storage. On December 1972, Scanian's Viggen was the first plane ever to land in Malmö's Airport. And the Vickers discount, whose nose section you see here, has a very long history. So basically, the plane was made 1957 and was originally intended for the American company Capital Airlines, but the purchase fell through. Instead, Australia's Trans-Australian Airline became the new owner. Another purchase that fell through was Kuwaiti Oil Sheikh. Until 1967 did the plane get the first Swedish owner, and then 1970 it was bought by the Malmö area, which was later restructured as Skyline Sweden. The Saab 35 Viggen is a single-engine Swedish fighter airplane developed by Saab in Linköping. It was first prototype flew in October 1955, and it was designed to be a pure fighter aircraft. Aerodynamics. Welcome to From the Muscle Power to the Machine Power, an exhibition on the time when the muscle power tool and machines were replaced by engines and motors. The going shoes. The Road Skates Company, London, around the 1900s. Give me muscles, quivering, yearning, longing for activity, happy to be able to work like young machines. Mending teeth. Good dental hygiene was considered very important even in the old days. And toothache has plunged people throughout the ages. The simple way getting rid of it was to extract the bad teeth. The steam engine. The steam engine started working and it just might be hurt. The steam turbine. Hydropower plants are the only place with turbines. It was not until the 19th century where built a functioning steam turbine. On all more modern stations working nuclear power, large turbines that produce electricity. And this was a model built in early circuit in Malmö in 1957. The large green marine steam engine in the exhibition belongs to the steamship Rogaland. It was built 1877 and it was 30 meters long and 90 tons. It served in Norway for nearly 80 years and she could take 200 passengers. Generator. The tractor. The first 3D tractor were built back in the early 20th century. The Munktails tractor from 1934 was probably a small tractor model and it has reverse gear. It is the third in the series U1 to U9. The U3 was decommissioned in 1964 and towed to Cockham Shipyard in Malmö in 1965. It was donated to the city of Malmö in 1967 and inaugurated at the museum in 1969. The first attempts to build submersible vessels began in Holland as early as 1620. The Swedish Navy launched its first submarine in 1904. At the beginning of World War II, the Swedish Navy had 12 submarines, most of which were obsolete or in poor condition. So it was decided to manufacture a new fleet of submarines, including those from the series U1 to U9. The U3 was built in Karlskrona in 1940, and it was launched in 1942. Instead of using rivets, the submarines were welded together completely. This construction allowed the submarines to submerge to depths of 100 meters. The U3 was never in direct conflict, but the Navy was always prepared to defend the country. Every year the U3 would shoot up to 100 blank torpedoes during military exercises. Once the empty torpedo shells floated to the surface, they were then collected and reused. The crew worked in 4-hour shifts. That is, 4 hours of work and 4 hours of rest, during which they ate and slept. At any one time, half the crew was working and the other half was resting. The crew consisted of 54 officers, one of whom was the captain, 7 non-commissioned officers, and 19 enlisted men. All of them had their specific duties on board, but if any one of them made a mistake, they could all face death. This fused the team together and created a unique cohesion in which everyone depended on each other. The crew's uniform consisted of a woolen sweater and long johns underneath their workers' overalls, occasionally with a jacket on top. The temperature could fluctuate between 7 degrees Celsius at a depth of 30 meters and up to 35 degrees Celsius at the surface on a hot summer's day. While submerged, the exhaled breath of the crew condensed on the walls and dripped down onto the men sleeping in their bunks. The machine room included a small kitchen area of 1 meter squared and the toilet. The user had to carefully follow a list of 13 instructions, or the excrement could be flushed back into the submarine. The result was that the crew often went as long as possible between toilet visits. There were 2 chefs, and according to many crew members, they were considered the most important individuals on board. Good food made it easier for the crew to stay positive. There were many meals, including breakfast, lunch, a tea break, dinner, supper, and there was always coffee for the day watch. It was difficult to maintain good hygiene because there was neither a fridge nor a freezer on board. Hot water had to be heated on the stove, and a lot of kitchen necessities were missing. This is where the torpedo crew worked, but also where the rest of the crew spent most of their free time. Everyone shared one small wash basin with cold water. After 10 days inside, their hygiene was not ideal. The forward compartment As a student of Rostock and Augsburg, Tycho had become in contact with archimery. He agreed with the technique of Hercules that illness were caused by minerals and poisonous substance falling from the star to the earth, causing chemical process in the body. Denmark. When Tycho was young, Sweden and Denmark fought for the Nordic 7-year war. The Swedes ravaged Skåne, but finally defeated by the Danes. Skåne, Blekinge and Halland continue to belong to Denmark for almost another 100 years. Tycho brought her. Tycho belonged to one of the Denmark's leading noble families, but he wanted to live as astronomer, not nobleman. He was keen to move to Basel, Switzerland, when there was another astronomer and good instrument maker. Mastering the darkness. Knowledge is power. In the 16th century, one form of knowledge or holders of power wanted to acquire was how the celestial body influenced people's fates on earth. No one doubted a strong power of these bodies. Morten Harriwet. He was born in Stockholm in 1691 to a German merchant's family. At early stages, he decided to go to England to pursue his career. Here one goes diving. Try to increase the air pressure inside the container by pressing the handle down. When the air pressure increases, the air inside the diving bell is pressed together and the water pushes it into the bell. It makes the bell heavier so it sinks. Fruit bait. Linnaeus correctly classified the fruit bait as a mammal. Previously, it was thought to be a bird. He believed it was all related to human because it has similar nipples. And nowadays, baits are classified as a separate order of mammals. In Linnea's time, people believed there were about 40,000 species, plants and animals on Earth, and he classified 9,000 plants and 6,000 animals. Today there are estimated 1.8 million species, and researchers are still discovering more. Perhaps there are many as 100 million. Could there be anything more Scanian than a big yellow pyramid cake? Spitz Kaka, the symbol of weddings, 50th anniversaries, and other festive occasions. The Pedal Autograph, 1901. Peacemaker, 1958. What's that set-off alarm when you go through the airport security control? Could you make it? Car with a Stirling engine. At the beginning of 1980s, Linear Flintstone set a speed record with a car equipped with a Stirling engine, and he reached around 200 kilometers per hour. Gold, but in different colors.
Small particles of gold are placed on a surface made of a semiconducting material and then heated to a few hundred degrees Celsius. Gases containing the atoms that will make up the nucleus, such as helium and phosphorus, are sent towards the semiconducting surface.
The funeral carriage, horse-driven, 1910. The carriage was made in Gothenburg for the Lindbergh in Leighton, 1910. It was used for the final time in 1932. Welcome to the exhibition, Vehicles for the Future. The exhibition takes you on journeys through time from the start of 1900s. Electric bike, 2012. Penny farthing, pedal operated, around 1880. Phaeton carriage, horse-drawn pony carriage, 1910. It is a four-wheeled horse-drawn carriage that's popular during the 19th century. Defiance, bicycle with a petrol-driven head motor, around 1920. Fire truck, 1931. Volvo RV71D last year. Volvo's light and medium weight trucks made before 1932 were not particularly modern. Ardor, benzene driven. Harley Davidson, petrol-driven motorcycle, 1933. The mark was founded in 1903 by William Harley, and with its classic design and strong marketing, it has survived several economic crises. The bike is dated 1962 and the 1933 model. Omnibus Wagonite, horse-driven, 1850s. The omnibus was acquired from the Duvik Manor in the Svalbard municipality. It is a fully enclosed wagon with benches along the sides and spring suspension. A Ford Roadster, petrol-driven, 1931. The model's predecessor, the Model T Ford dating from 1908, has caused a revolution within the car industry for ownership. Sarolia, petrol-driven motorcycle, 1929. BMW Isetta, petrol-driven car, 1956. Isetta was marketed as a comfortable, cheap to run and easy to park. A driver's license for MC was enough. The first bubble cars were made in Germany and Italy, and Ford Tuber V8, petrol-driven car, 1939. By arranging the engine cylinders in a V configuration instead of a straight line, it was possible to shorten the length of the car bonnet. Volvo Duet, petrol-driven car, 1967. Since the beginning of the 1950s, Volvo has produced an estate version of its car. The Duet was based on Volvo PV, but had its own chassis. With its double rear doors, the vehicle became favorite among all types of tradesmen. Ford Fairlane 500, petrol-driven car, 1965. The city of Malmö's official vehicle from 1965 to 1988. The big V8 engine is used to 1.5 liters for every 10 kilometers. Renault, petrol-driven, 1955. The Ford CB was designed during World War II, when only military and utility vehicles were allowed to be made. Renault's engineers believe that often the war is more economical war will be damned and plan the car even though company management envision slightly larger car models. Volvo PB444, petrol-driven car, 1947. The Second World War made it expensive and difficult to manufacture large cars. It made Volvo racing and planning for a smaller passenger car in the beginning of 1942. Typhoon, motor-driven motorcycle with sidebar, 1950. Saab 92B, petrol-driven car, 1955. Saab Model 92 was intended to compete with the Volvo PB444, but they turned out to be very different in price and execution to the target audience. Trabant, petrol-driven car, 1969. Trabant was an East German car marque, and it produced car from 1958 to 1991. It decided to manufacture a sturdy, small car model to hope to become a popular car of people. Polar diesel engine, 1950. In the wake of oil crisis, Ford Tanner's Estates, petrol-driven car, 1974. Robert Stirling discovered the first practically usable hot air engine in Scotland. He received the patent. And the United Stirling was founded in Malmö, 1968. Over the years, the company has tested and developed Stirling engines on boats, cars, and generators, and it's now currently used technologies in submarines. Saab 9000, petrol-driven, 1989. With this 9000 model, Saab wanted to target the American market and develop this model to meet the new strict American safety requirements. Experience hydrogen rocket in the interactive climbing wall. Welcome to the planet of ideas. In the power chamber, you can see the traces of radioactive radiation.